Okay, I'm gonna do a quick explanation on breeding. Yes, I will make the vid literally right now. Okay, so let's say I want to breed this female Vulpix, right? And it's got first of all, terminology. A 31 IV, I'm gonna call that 1 IV. So 1 perfect IV. And I'm gonna represent that like this with a finger, right? So let's say I want to breed a 2 IV Vulpix, that's 1 IV HP and 1 IV speed, right? Every time you breed together, you can guarantee one stat, and any overlapping stats will stay the same. So let's say I've got an HP and a speed IV, and then I have an HP and a speed IV Vulpix, right? Those two both overlap, so they're both guaranteed. And if I have a HP and a speed IV, and an HP and a special attack IV, the HP will overlap, but the speed and the special attack won't. So the trick is you can always have one finger not overlapping on each hand. So if I'm gonna go and try and find a breeder for this Vulpix, now the first thing I look at is it's a female, right? If it's a male, I can only breed it with a female Vulpix if I want the result to be a Vulpix. But if it's a female, that guarantees that the result will be a Vulpix. So what I do is I go to the Pokédex and I look at the egg group. And the egg group here says field. So if I go to the field egg group on the GTL, right? So I go into advanced search, and then under egg group, I select field. I can put all of the IVs that I want. Let's say I wanted to have 2 IVs so that I can make it so that these overlap and these don't, right? Because 3, I can't guarantee 2. Or if I do this, that's still just 1 extra IV. Actually, that's worse. But if it's 2, I can go from 2 IVs, overlap to 3 IVs, right? So I look up field group, required IV matches 2, and attack is at 0 because I don't want attack on my Vulpix because it's a special attacker. Usually you'll pick one, unless it's a mixed attacker, like if you're running Draco Meteor on your Garchomp. It's very specific, so don't worry about that. Usually just pick one. So I've got HP and speed, and I'll search here. And I'll want to add that, obviously I need it to be a male, right? Or a Ditto. Male will include Ditto automatically. I don't even have to look up Vulpix, right? And I'll go over here to newest, and I'll go to lowest price. So under lowest price, I can see, here's Purloin. This is special attack and special defense, right? Because it's the same order. You go HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed. I need one that has either HP or speed, but not both. So here we have 31 HP, attack, defense, 31 special attack. So that's a 2 IV Pokemon, right? And I could go and buy that Slakoth. And if I breed that Slakoth with this Vulpix, and I put the right power items on, so I put the power item for speed and the power item for special attack on him. And the reason why I picked those two is because the HP already overlaps. So you just have to put the power items for the non-overlapping stats. So power items are 10,000, right? And you can buy them at the Unova Daycare. I think you can buy them other places, but that's where I get mine. You can see here the power weight is for HP. I don't need that because they both have HP. The power anklet is for speed, so I do need that one. And I think it's the power... the purple one. Power lens here for special attack. So I'll give the power lens to the Slakoth, and I'll give the power anklet to the Vulpix. And at the end of that, I will get another Vulpix from that egg. And I can guarantee that to be female if I want. The difference will be the price of the breeder. So if you make it a female, you have to buy a male field group breeder. And if you make it a male, you have to buy a female Vulpix breeder. And whether or not that's economical will depend on the Pokemon. So right now, to simplify it, just stick to keeping it female, then you can use any field group, right? So that tends to be cheaper. So if I now have this new 3 IV Mon, right? HP, special attack, and speed. I can overlap 2 of these so I don't lose them, and then add another one over here. So if I breed this with a 3 IV that has 2 matching stats, I will get 1, 2, 3, 4 IVs. Okay, so I'll go to my advanced search. I'll increase the required IV matches by 1. And you can see these cost about 700,000. Now, if you want, you can manually breed this 3 IV up, doing what we just did, right? Add a 2 and a 2 together. But you have to make sure it's the right stats. So remember, we need 2 of these to overlap out of HP, speed, and special attack. So right here, we have special attack, special defense, and speed. So we go HP, right? Yeah, HP, special attack. Fingers are wrong. Okay. Special attack on both, speed on both, they both overlap, HP, and special defense. You combine these 2 together, and you have to put these as your power items, right? So you'll put an HP power band, not power band, an HP power weight, and then a special defense power band. And if you add those 2 together, you get a 4 IV Mon, right? So that's how you go from 3 to 4. If you want to go from 4 to 5, you'll need to overlap 3. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other thing you need to do is to get your nature. Now, nature is weird because you can't overlap your natures. So we're going to use the thumbs for this. And remember, you can't overlap the thumbs. So if I want to have a 2 IV nature Mon, this is going to be my free finger that's not overlapped. So if I want to keep a stat here, I have to overlap with the finger. If I have a HP attack Mon, I will need a HP or attack IV and a nature. So HP or attack. Because I can't overlap this. Even if they're both the right nature, you can't do that. This will always be the open finger. So if I want to get a 5 IV natured Mon, I can get a regular 5 IV Mon, and then a 4 IV Mon with nature. But I'm out of fingers. We're gonna do 3 then. So I'll get a regular 4 IV Mon, a 3 IV with nature, and I'll overlap these 3. And I get 1 extra IV and 1 nature. And it has to be the nature on this end, which means I need all of these to match. Otherwise I'm going to lose one. If I go like this, right? And I've got nature down there. It's really hard to hold like that, hey? If I go like this and I have nature down here and I only overlap once, even if this nature is the same, I can't keep this because I need to use an Everstone here and they can't overlap. If you have 2 Mons of the same nature, the nature will still end up being random. Now, I really hope this whole video my hands were visible. But that's how you breed competitive Mons up. So any step that you want to carry on nature, you'll usually have the not natured Mon having an extra IV than the natured one because it has to overlap. And I mean, if you don't have an extra IV, then like you just made the same Mon. What was the point of that? Right? You overlapped, you kept this, you kept that. That's the same guy. That's an L. Yeah. there are some exceptions to this, or like special rules, which I guess I'll make another part explaining once I let people like ask questions and stuff. Because there's some like, how do you breed a mon that has no gender? And the answer to that is you actually have to breed it with either a mon of the same species or ditto, and you don't have any like options for that. When you're calculating your price for your breeders, keep in mind if you guarantee gender, that also costs more money. Dependent on how common it is to get a female or a male from that mon. Like if it's a 50-50, it'll just be 5k. But if you're breeding like a starter, it'll cost a lot more to get a female, and it'll still be 5k for a male. They don't decrease that in response. Yeah, sometimes it's more worth it just to buy a better breeder than to breed up the breeder. Especially with 2 IVs. If you breed 2 1IV guys, now you don't need to overlap, but you got 1 on each side. But each power item costs 10k, so it's just like, oh well, I just spent 20k on that. And then if I'm looking for a 2 IV breeder, like this is 25k for the purloin. Am I not spending 5k on the 1 IV mons, you know? There's a $1,000 minimum anyways for listing something, because that's the listing price of a Pokemon. So yeah, any questions, I'll make another thing for that.